Hey everybody, this is Greg from Burning Bush Farm. Today I'm going to talk about fermenting chicken feed. I'm going to talk about what it is, how to do it, and why you should do it. So first, just what fermenting does is it makes the nutrition in the feed more available to the chicken. So the fermenting process is a lot like what we eat as humans, such as yogurt, sourdough bread, sauerkraut. All that stuff is fermented, and the fermenting process creates what we call good bacteria or probiotics, lactic acid. So the process breaks down some of those things in the feed, and it makes the nutrition more readily digestible to the chickens. So in doing so, the chickens have a boosted immune system, and they can absorb more nutrients from less food. So you get less waste out of your food, and it'll more of it will be used to actually feed the chickens and give them what they need. So how you do it is very simple. You need to start with water. You can use a bucket of water. If you have a lot of chickens, use 5-gallon buckets. If you just have a few chickens, you can use mason jars of different sizes. The important thing to note with the water is if you have city water that's treated, you can't use that directly. The chlorine in that will kill the beneficial bacteria before it has a chance to ferment. So if you only have city water as an option, you can let it just sit out in that jar overnight, and the chlorine will evaporate and you can use it. So it's been raining here for several days, so I just collected water in this bucket. So all that you have to do, it's a little more than half full, so I'm going to fill the bucket up until there's about 2 inches of water above the feed. You can do this with any type of feed. I use a mash type feed that is from a local farm. It's mostly corn and soybeans ground up, but you can use any type of store-bought food, fermented whole grain food. You can use scratch, you can use bird seed, any type of seed or grain, and even pellets and crumble food from the store can be fermented. So I'm just going to fill this up. After it's filled up, just cover it loosely with either a loose fitting lid or a towel, and once a day you just come in and stir it. You may need to add more water because the feed will absorb the water, and you'll know it's done about 2 to 3 days later. It'll have a bit of a sour smell. It'll smell kind of like sourdough bread, and when you stir it, it'll be bubbling, and the bubbles are showing that reaction is happening, converting, the good bacteria is converting those nutrients in the food. So I'm just going to add this feed, and then I'm going to stir it up and then cover it up. So some of the other things this does is, when I'm talking about saving money, the amount you can stretch this food. So in my experience, about 50% increase in volume. So if you start with a pound of food and you ferment that pound, you're going to end up with about 1.5 pounds of food. So each bag of feed you have when you ferment it will go a lot further. It expands as it absorbs the water. So it also helps the chickens absorb more water and get better hydration, which is important for egg production. So you have an actual increase in the food volume itself, and the nutrition becomes more readily available to the chickens, so they need to eat less to get full and get the same amount. So in doing this process of fermenting, you're helping your chickens be healthier. You can increase the weight of the eggs, weight of the chickens, and you'll be able to save considerable amount of money on your chicken food. So I'm going to finish this, cover it up. So follow the video and subscribe to the channel. The next video I'll show you when it's actually fermented what it looks like.